So before I start this video, I just want to say that this video is fair use, so all the media used in this video is used for criticism, review in a transformative way. All the information I present is public information and everything else is alleged in my opinion or just a joke. So the first thing I want to talk about is Graceffa. He was part of the whole UK YouTube scene back in the day. And I was watching something, I don't remember what. I think it was Your Grammar Sucks 100. And then I remembered that he existed and I went onto his channel. And that's when I was informed that he had broken up with his long-term boyfriend of, I believe, 6 years. He was the guy that kissed him in the Don't Wait music video, which I also believe was his coming out video. So apparently they had been broken up for about 3 months, but just didn't really tell anyone. They were still living together, mostly because of the whole COVID situation. But they have broken up now. They have been for about 3 months and his boyfriend is moving out very soon. So the next thing I want to talk about is bankrupt, who is a reasonably big Russian YouTuber, and he recently posted on his Instagram story saying, "I've been in intensive care for 9 months battling COVID-19 double pneumonia, which has spread to every part of my lungs. For a while it was touch and go. I watched 2 people die in the beds next to me on July 1st. However, the ICU team have done a fine job, and thanks to dexamethasone and other anti-COVID drugs, I'm finally getting through it. It's not the end yet though. I now have months of lung rehabilitation ahead of me so that I can breathe unaided again. Special thanks to those who stood by me in this time and did all they could to help me. They know who they are. Please take COVID seriously even if you're young. I was blasé and look where I ended up. Keep your old folks safe. All the best." So the next person I want to talk about is Sky Williams. He had a house with, it was basically like a hype house Team 10 kind of situation where it was just like a huge house with a bunch of other creators in it and they were kind of in like a group. But the creators that were in the house have now come out to say that he was very, very abusive. One of the screenshots provided said, "I'm not going to name names at all and I will keep this vague. If people therein would like to confess, I don't mind. My goal isn't about any individuals. I saw a guest today, a guest I was not warned about in any facet of media with no receipts. Between the hours of 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I will be breaking something of value in each of your rooms as I had clearly instructed from the house meeting. Or I can get $350 cash, no PayPal, no Chase Quick Pay, on my desk and to me before 6 a.m. This is final, there are no exceptions. Hide your valuable things if you must, but I will find a way. Best of luck to you all. I'll be here waiting. There should not be any questions as my words are direct and clear. Nobody is exempt, not even people who pay rent. You may physically stop me, but if I feel like I can't beat you in a fight, I will just call the police and you will be escorted away. And I'm sure that you all know I'm not kidding. Anyway, 6 a.m., $350, good luck." And then he went on a live stream in order to kind of clear the air or something like that, and apparently it didn't turn out very well, so he tweeted out, "The live stream statement was a massive mistake. I elected to not listen to any comments to not get distracted, and I ended up hurting more people than I already have with my actions for the past 7 years. I did it live because I felt like it was the only non-edited way to do this. All I can do is try to be a better person and make things right. With the information out currently, it would be impossible for anyone to think that I have it in me to become better, but I can be. I can be this guy that inspired and entertained people in the first place. I still think it's my duty to release the full and complete statement of the Sky House and the activities therein. Nothing will ever justify the pain I've caused, but my hope is that it shows you that I am not a monster, though I've caused the same pain as one." And then somebody quote tweeted that saying, "I'm not retweeting as a sign of support or to condone his behavior. I'm tweeting this out for visibility because I'm supposedly going to be addressed towards the end. Sky has owed me $10,000 for 2 years after promising to pay me back in 8 months. He then proceeded to keep asking for more. Somebody else released a statement that says, Sky owes me $55,000. Leslie and I are safe. My keyboard had water poured all over it and no longer works properly, which makes the statement much harder to do. But besides that, it seems like my personal belongings are also safe. This is my statement. Sky and I go way back to the Brawl days. I've known him since 2008. I left the Smash scene and didn't talk to him very much at all after my departure, but I still had fond memories of him going to Smash tournaments together and whatnot. We barely talked up until 2017, which is when he messaged me out of the blue saying he's in serious debt to the IRS. He told me he would go to prison and his career would be over unless he received a significant amount of money. After several back and forth messages, I eventually agreed to lend him $55,000. Instead of taking the money I lent him to pay off his debts, he decided to use it to rent the infamous Sky Mansion. That place only exists because I funded it, not knowing the kind of person he had become. We had an agreement that he would pay me back $1,000 a month after an initial 3 months grace period. This was so that he could get himself organized to make content again. It turned out to be the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. Nobody has called me an idiot or a moron more than myself for the mess I got into. It was a terrible investment and I don't consider myself a victim for lending him the money. It was a mistake I made and I have to live with that. To this day, he hasn't paid me back a single penny. If you think that's bad, keep reading. Back in the Brawl days, I would often house Sky and other local smashers for tournaments. My mum and Sky ended up having a really good relationship and of course that made me like Sky even more. During this time, my mum was battling breast cancer and eventually died in 2016 after battling the illness for nearly a decade. Sky was very aware of my mum's condition and knew I came from a family blessed with financial privilege. When he messaged me asking for money, he told me the reason he went broke is because he spent all his money helping his dad pay for his cancer treatment. This struck an emotional chord with me because I have I've personally sacrificed lots of my own time and even money helping my mother during her time of sickness. Here's the worst part that I don't think I'll ever get over. His dad never had cancer. I repeat, he made up the story about his dad having cancer as a way to manipulate somebody he calls a good friend into giving him money. The excuse he has told me is that his dad lied to him about having cancer and instead used the money on cosmetic surgery for his penis. I am not joking, this is the excuse that he has used several times. I know it's hilarious, but it makes it harder to take my situation seriously when he turns it into such a joke like that. I can confirm everything Melissa has said about the Sky Mansion when it comes to social hierarchy. I spoke out against Sky several times about the problematic situations that arose while at the house. These problems included the power dynamic, favoritism, manipulation, alcoholism, and the shady ways he was making money to pay for rent. He would very often ask people for money, and there is at least one other person who I won't name that Sky owes even more money than me. Every time I confronted him, it only made my living situation there worse. He never allowed guests to learn how this mansion came to be, and instead would take full credit, sometimes even as I was standing there right in front of him. Instead of paying me back, he would treat his roommates to free dinners, free video games, and even free trips to Vegas, which included him buying a couple roommates, prostitutes, and hotel rooms. He literally took my money and gambled it at Vegas and a local casino. I was horrified at what I was witnessing. This was a friend I trusted, one who laid out a bogus plan to pay me back, which seemed like a guarantee. He has told me that I am a walking reminder of his guilt and has subtly threatened to kick me out on several occasions. Keep in mind, I am the main reason why this mansion exists. He made almost no content during the entire time he lived there and would still find ways to blame his struggles on me and other housemates that lived with him at the time. He would do this despite all the obvious help and support he had been receiving from everybody at the house. We all wanted to see him succeed. I never wanted to make a statement like this, and it deeply saddens me that I have to. It will take a long time to heal from this. So recently, these streamers went to Disney World or Disneyland. I'm not quite sure. It was Disney World. These streamers went to Disney World, and they were experiencing a lot of cold and flu symptoms, and they were vomiting and stuff like that. They were just very obviously sick. Jenny Nicholson tweeted out, "These streamers are at Disney World, visited first aid last night for cough, shortness of breath, and severe vomiting, and were back in Magic Kingdom today complaining of sore throats." These people then went on another live stream basically complaining about Jenny, and they were telling their fans to report her for no genuine good reason. They were also claiming that a lot of people were mad at them just because they were jealous. And then Mary came out and said, "This is my mother. This video that has been cut to give you all of the bad is terrible. Please go watch the actual stream. All of the info you need is there." They had dessert at Skipper Canteen, and the dessert was made with cashew oil. There were no symptoms before the dessert. Jenny replied to that saying she is attributing her symptoms to tree nut allergy, but she took Benadryl, saw no change after several hours, and never used her EpiPen. The first aid nurses advised that she go to a hospital, and she didn't. They've announced that they're visiting Animal Kingdom tomorrow. What I've noticed is that they're not acting innocent. So obviously the cashew allergy thing doesn't match up because of what Jenny said, but it was just suspicious how they were constantly complaining about Jenny and telling people to unfairly report her instead of just simply explaining the situation, so that obviously makes them look guilty, because somebody innocent wouldn't ask other people to mass report somebody that doesn't deserve to be reported. It seems like they're scared because they're guilty. And also just go to the hospital. You could always just go back to Disney World. Just go to the hospital now. Make sure that there's nothing wrong with you, even if it isn't COVID, even if it isn't something that other people can get by being around you. Just go just to make sure that you are safe. So a YouTuber called Nessa uploaded this video quite a while ago, and I didn't really notice until a week after she posted it. But she was basically discussing, I don't know if she was building on Collins, but this stories are kind of intertwined. She was just talking about how Tana treated her as a black woman, and some points that she made in the video was that white creators can oftentimes get along with many scandals without a scratch, but people of color and creators of color will have small dramas and it will ruin their reputation, like Nessa, because Tana had gone around and basically slated her and talked shit about her constantly, and then people just kind of hated her despite the fact it wasn't a major scandal. It was mostly just the fact that Tana didn't like her. So the first time that they met, Tana and Nessa introduced Tana to Jordan because Jordan was originally Nessa's manager, and Jordan ended up signing Tana there on the spot and just started ignoring Nessa as a client and just wouldn't respond to her and wouldn't do his job, but would always do his job for Tana. It got to the point where she had to contact Tana to get to Jordan, and Nessa's friends and family and stuff would say, "Oh, it's probably because Tana is white and therefore she is more marketable," but she didn't really want to believe that at the time. And Nessa didn't actually know this, but Jordan started talking shit about her behind her back and basically saying that she was annoying and obnoxious and loud and just terrible to work with. If anyone wants to point out the irony in that, considering that he was now working for Tana, you are very welcome to do so. And Tana started bringing up quite often that people would always tell her that Nessa was talking shit about her to other people. Nessa always denied this, but Tana's fans ended up relentlessly attacking her online, and Tana refused to tell her fans to stop attacking Nessa because she wanted to promote positivity. Tana would always manipulate and gaslight Nessa every time she tried to tell her side of the story. Jordan told people that Nessa had like severe schizophrenia, and because she was schizophrenic, which she wasn't, she was therefore violent and unpredictable. Then Jordan signed Nessa on to a different manager, saying that this manager will just really get her and understand her and they'll really work well, and it turned out that this manager was an African man. Keep in mind, this was still during the time when he was being really friendly to her face but would constantly talk bad about her and was paging her out to be violent and aggressive behind the scenes. And then Tana basically just got other influencers to talk bad about Nessa online as well. Apparently Tana is going to upload her apology onto YouTube in like multiple parts, which a lot of people took issue with, because why does she need to do that? Nobody needs a series or a docu-series of apologies. It hasn't come out yet. I don't know when it's going to come out, but apparently it will. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you like this video or if you like me, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you didn't like me, make sure to get in contact with my teachers because I bet you'll have a lot in common, and make sure to stay safe and stay hydrated.